Hello everyone, it's Vic the Bazaar again. For some weird reason, I have been kind of in a sad mood, so I thought of doing a fanfic reading. The fanfic I'm going to be reading is In Too Deep by DarkMoonX, but it's not going to be the first chapter, it's going to be chapter 12, mostly because that's where I'm up to in the fanfic, and I'm really lazy, and it's also a lemon. So, I guess, here we go. I don't go back to Skyloft because I know he'll find me there. Instead, I fly for the sealed grounds. For some reason, I just want to see Zelda, and even if I might pose a threat because of Girahim. But I can't keep doing this. The contract either has to end or I have to take Girahim down myself. Unfortunately, both paths have the same outcome, and I know now, deep in my chest, no, my heart, that I don't want to kill Girahim. I pull on the reins on my Loftwing and stop a moment to think. I don't want Zelda to get hurt, and I won't allow her to be hurt. But I also can't kill Girahim. I'm in too deep with him now, and killing him would only place a scar on my heart for the rest of my life. So I have to make a decision, right now, Girahim or Zelda. I think about it long and hard as my Loftwing glides slowly down below, coming nearer and nearer to the sealed grounds. I think about Girahim, and how he showed me his aggression, but also a gentle side of him I didn't know existed. Every time I think of him, my heart races, and despite the twisted things going on between us, I can't help but care for him. Then there's Zelda, the very reason I'm in all this mess. She's so pure and good, a reincarnation of the goddess herself. And if I were to ever end up with her, I have this deep-gutted feeling that I would taint her with my body, because my own has been tainted with the demons. Zelda deserves better than that, but I know how she feels about me, and with that, I make a decision and know what I have to do. I knock on Zelda's door after dark. Luckily, she isn't asleep, and her father is busy studying in his library. I say hello to him, then sit with Zelda by the fire. She pours me a cup of water and sits across from me in another chair. It's so good to see you, Link, she smiles up at me. Will you be staying the week again? I bite my lip and look down at my cup. No, actually, I plan on going back to Skyloft tomorrow. She frowns at that. Oh, she says, then looks away. I hope when I saw you that you'd be staying longer. Some things have come up, I reply. Is everything alright? Well, sort of. Do you want to talk about it? No, I need to ask you something, Zelda. What is it? Are you happy here? She smiles at that. Yes, I am. I'm finally somewhere I belong. She looks at me a moment before saying, Are you happy, Link? I make a soft laugh and look at the fire. I don't know. I thought I belonged at Skyloft, but I just don't know anymore. Link, she says softly and takes my hand in hers. Don't go looking for where you belong. Let it come to you. You've always been wise, Zelda. I pat her hand. You always know the right things to say. Thank you. But now I have to ask, what do you want, Link? Where do you feel most happy? I look down and think a moment. Any times I've been happy, I've always been at Skyloft and with Zelda, but I have to pick one or the other, and deep in my heart, I know which one it is. When I make my way out of Zelda's house, I feel a new sense of calm, as if a weight has been lifted from my chest. The wind is blowing warm air into my face, and I know a storm is on its way. I welcome the calm before the storm, and it's the way I feel inside right now. As the dirt crunches under my boots, as the night gets darker and windier, as the torches scattered about blow out, I feel him following me, but I keep walking because I want to get out of range of the other houses. My own house is a little farther up the road, and when I see it in sight, I finally slow down so he can keep up with me. I thought you were going to do it, I hear him say behind me. Ask her to be your wife. I close my eyes at that and wait as he comes up behind me. As I turn around, before he can get to me, he stops just a few feet away, and I can see he isn't angry. His face is expressionless, and the wind is blowing his hair in his face. I know, with how calm he is right now, that he isn't going to hurt me. At least I hope not. No, I say, I just needed to see her. Just needed to talk with her. You know, I have to admit, Hero, you made me angry running off like that. Why? Because it was me doing the running this time? You forget your place. He makes his way to me and puts his hand on my neck. He squeezes lightly and leans into me. No, not here. No, not anywhere. I'm not staying with you because you like it too much. You forget we're enemies. You forget you're supposed to hate me. Or if you're really just so lost that you're beginning to lose your sanity. I shake my head and look down. No, I'm not crazy. Then why would you say it? Say what? You know what I mean. He moves forward and I take a step back toward my house. You care about me. Allow me to let you in on something, pet. Humans don't care about demons. You said yourself you're half-demon. That means one of your own parents were humans. They must have cared for each other. No, you're speaking of a petty emotion, one that I won't tolerate, the same emotion that made you give up the very one you signed the contract for. I don't understand. I thought the idea was to stay away from Zelda, to keep her out of harm's way. He stops at that and chuckles, but he sounds annoyed. You're a fool, Link. You turned everything around. I had a plan and you ruined it. I wanted you to get with Zelda. I wanted it so I could sneak around with you while she wasn't looking. Wanted to torment you to your grave. But no, you still had to be the hero and keep her completely out of my way. That's what you do when you care about someone. He makes a noise in his throat, like a sneer. More talk of emotions. And what makes you more angry is that you can't face the fact that I care about you. You can't even stand the idea. You don't even want to hear anything about it. Yes, you're right when I say I gave up on Zelda to keep her out of this, but it wasn't the only reason. I did it so I could be with you. Girahim glares at me and doesn't hesitate at all in coming up right to me and slapping me hard on the cheek. Unfortunately, the same area he punched earlier, it was already bruised because Zelda pointed it out earlier. I stumble back and cough, but I take it, as always. I hold my cheek and stand up. He's still glaring at me, his arms by his side and his fists clenched. You're lucky I didn't punch you instead, he seethes. Why didn't you? Because I have a feeling you'd like it too much. I don't understand you, human. Not at all. He backs away, suddenly loosens his fists. I'm going. Don't follow me. He turns on his heel, but I run after you. I don't want you to go, I say quickly. I said, don't follow me. From the tone of his voice, I don't. Instead, I watch him go and watch him disappear into the forest. Of course I follow him, all the way back to the sky. I don't spend the night down below, like I had planned. I had made my decision earlier, and I chose Girahim. I chose a life of continuous pain and emotional detachment, but for some reason it seemed a better choice than having Zelda as a wife and still going through the motions with Girahim. I'm beating myself up for it, though, but keep telling myself I won't let Girahim get away from me. He's been toying with me for too long. It's my turn now, especially when he seems so confused about what's going on. I don't know if he notices, but I quietly follow him on my loft wing. From a good distance away, it's late into the night and no one else is out except for the guards flying around Skyloft. But Girahim is flying away from Skyloft and towards the Thunderhead instead. He enters the gigantic cloud with his bird, but I stop outside it and wait a little. Has Girahim really been living inside this cloud the whole time? I've been in here before, but I try to avoid it as much as possible. This time, though, I'll make an exception. I bite my lip and brace myself, then I fly my loft wing inside the Thunderhead. I close my eyes to the thick barrier of clouds, then open them once I'm inside. It's calm inside the cloud right now, so I look around for Girahim and spot him landing on a large building sitting on an island. I narrow my eyes and fly toward it. The closer I get, the more I see how it's overgrown with weeds and ivy growing up from the ground. The stone on the outside is dark and weather-worn. It makes me wonder what the inside looks like. I wonder at the moment if I should turn around and go back to Skyloft, or perhaps even back to Zelda. You have to make your own future, Link, she said to me. I know Zelda was saddened when I told her I wanted to travel abroad, alone, though it was a lie. But I think she also respected me for it, even though part of me feels like she thinks I'll return to her one day. With that in mind, I descend my loft wing and land on a warm platform below. Once I land, I make my way to the building and I feel its stones in my hand. They're cold under my touch, but I can't help but notice the few thorny vines growing alongside the ivy. There are small red roses blooming from the vines, which I find strange, but it also makes me realize something. The way this building looks on the outside is how Girahim seems to be also, full of dangerous, sharp edges, but delicate on the inside. Maybe I'm just fooling myself. Eventually, I find a door. It's sort of hidden within an archway. The handle is brass, and I hesitate before placing my hand on it. I bite my lip, hold my breath, and pull on the handle. Then I stop, because it doesn't budge, which is strange. I hadn't pictured Girahim as one who would lock his door, but I know him better than that. He wouldn't lock his door, which makes me try the handle instead. This time, I pull hard and the door budges open. It wasn't locked at all, but jams from the look of how the wood is rotted away and falling off on the side. The door creaks when I crack it open and I bite my lip, afraid he might hear me. Then I push it all the way open and look inside. There's a wide-open, dark room with a staircase spiraling up. Barrels and crates are scattered about, and shelves are built up against the wall. As I walk in, I notice bags on the floor of salt and corn. I must be in the cellar, also the lowest part of the place. There's no window here, so I'll have to feel my way up the staircase. So I close the door and head for the staircase by memory. As I'm circling up it, I begin to sweat, nervous that Girahim could be anywhere. Then I suddenly get very afraid. I put myself at risk coming here because he left angry with me, and now that I've walked into his domain. I stop when I come up to the top of the stairs. There's a door, so I open it immediately and see light streaming in from windows and candles on the wall. A single hallway is in front of me, and a door lies on the other end. As I walk to the middle of the hallway, there's another hallway linked to that one, going in the opposite direction. Something tells me to go down this one, and I do. At the end is another door and another staircase, so I make my way down it and hear noises from down below. I swallow hard when I reach the bottom and peer around the wall on the last stair. There's a big room with old furniture and a long, dusty table. A hearth sits against the wall and fire is going. I can see now that I'm where one would come through the front door, wherever it is. It's an oddly built place, with crumbling stones in the corners and doors leading off to other rooms. One of the doors is cracked, so I make my way across the room and to the door. I bite my lip and look inside, freezing, but I don't see Girahim inside. There's a bed inside and a wooden desk with several books and papers scattered across its surface. The bed is unmade and candles fill the room. A strong smell of incense is coming from inside, and I know instantly this is where he sleeps. I smile as I inhale his scent. It gives me the sensation of being close to him, so it gives me a comfort. But no, this is crazy. I don't know what I'm doing here. He'll kill me if he finds me. I need to leave now. But as I turn on my heel, my heart nearly jumps out of his chest because I run right into him. I yelp out loud, and I jump back so harshly that I close the door and plaster myself to it. Girahim raises a brow and his jaw twitches. Are you scared? He asks. My eyes are wide and I'm stiff against the door. I don't know if there's a more clear answer than that. You should be, he continues. Coming to my residence? I didn't know you had it in you, kid. I was worried. Worried? He chuckles back and takes a step back. Worried? He yells it this time, and a fit of anger flips over a table sitting beside one of the chairs. I cringe into myself and look away when I see him coming at me, but all he does is bang his fist on the door beside me. I can feel his anger coming off him, and I don't know at this point if he plans on hurting me. You're one of the very reason humans resort to such a mundane rituals and traditions, the whole example of letting emotion get in the way, and this is the reason why nothing can ever get done when it comes to the well-being of the world. The well-being? I half laugh. Yes, if my plan had gone through, if demise had come into this world, then you would have no need for me. He's silent at that, but gives me another sour look. Are you suggesting you like being my slave? I bow my head because of shame, but I look at him with my eyes because I can't deny the truth. Yes, I whisper. You chose me over Zelda. Yes. I'm beginning to think I'm possessing you. Maybe you are, but it doesn't matter. I will continue to be your slave. He grabs my collar at that and slams me against the door. I don't want you here, he hisses. Yes, you do. I wince. I promise. I won't let my feelings get in the way. You're a bad liar. He pauses and looks at me, searching my eyes before pulling me forward and pushing me so hard I land on my knees on the floor. You shouldn't have come here. Leave, he demands. No. He looks at me at that, and I see something new in his eyes, a spark that wasn't there before. I don't know whether to be worried or excited. You're out of line, hero. I notice the threat in his voice, but I ignore it. I have a contract to follow, I say. He cocks his head at that, and a slow smile forms on his lips. You're right, a contract and nothing more. Isn't that right, pet? Yes, nothing more, I promise. Then that means whatever was said earlier in the day was forgotten? It was all a misunderstanding, confusion on your part, am I correct? Yes, master. He smiles at that and licks his lips. How easy it is to tame a wild dog, come. I stand at my feet and follow him through the door I had pressed myself against earlier. As soon as I'm in the room, he grabs me and crushes my lips to his. It's all I need right now, just him kissing me. I don't want to admit that it's him now, rather than just someone or something that I want. As long as the contract stays intact, as long as I don't let my feelings for him come out again, then this never has to stop, and we can do this forever. Forever. I stop and I push him away when I think about that. I put a hand against my head and I sweep back my hair. Do I really want to do this with Girahim forever? Do I really want to see his face and body for the rest of my life? Do I really want to give up on a possible future with Zelda for this? Someone that won't even care for me back? What? He hisses at me. I look at him and suddenly blush. I had just caved into him and I hadn't taken much convincing. I feel like a fool now, giving up Zelda for Girahim. Why am I having second thoughts about this? I don't know. I don't know if I can do this. It is Zelda. It is Zelda, hero? I look away and he chuckles deeply. I knew it. It's alright. I like it better this way when you pour all of your stupid human emotions on her instead of me. It makes my job a lot easier and exciting to handle. He grabs me again and holds me in a firm grip. He pushes me against the wall and licks at my collarbone instead of giving in to it like I had been letting, I push against him. No, I groan. You want it, he says against my skin, and I'm not letting go of you, not after you decide to follow me all the way out here to my domain. I do want it, but everything feels wrong here, like it did when I was on the island with him, with no one else around. No one would have heard me scream, so they weren't going to hear me here either. After much struggling, I finally gave in and let everything go. My emotions were everywhere, but he's right. It is better this way. He isn't as angry with me when I don't let my emotions out, so I give in to him physically, nothing more. We end up on his bed, which feels good, and I let him use his tongue on my manhood because it feels good as well. I even help him by thrusting into his mouth and holding his head with my hands. I moan into the air, louder than I ever have, because we're alone now, with no one around for miles. Not even the howling wind outside can carry my cries to anyone. It's so good, all of it, that I end up crying out my release to him, which means I'm enjoying this all too much. So Gurahim does something he's never done before. He hovers over me. He takes both of us in his hand and strokes us together until I release. My face goes red as it all comes out, all over my stomach in his hand, and I can't help but twist and turn in the blankets from the intense feeling. Then I wince because some of it has gotten on the scrape Gurahim made earlier in the day, from the cut above my ribs. I bite my lip and look down on it when he notices. I'm surprised when he leans down and licks at it. It only makes it sting more, but there's something moving about him doing it to me, as if he's saying, sorry for inflicting it, I'll have to wash it later, so it doesn't get infected. Someone's excited, he says, as he continues to rub himself against me. I close my eyes and I let my breathing slow down, but when he tries to penetrate me, I stop him. Wait, I say, can you lay on your back? He cocks a brow, but does as I ask. Once he's on his back, I climb atop him and guide his hard manhood onto my entrance using the liquid I had just released. He goes in slow, and judging by the look on his face, he's already thrilled by what I'm doing. Once he's in, I move against him, sideways, up and down, all over my chest. Flutters whenever I hear him moan and talk in response. Yes, he hisses, places it. Such a willing dog. I close my eyes and put my hand on his chest. I move it up until my fingers hit his lips, where I push them inside his mouth so he can suck on them. Everything I'm doing is daring, and I can honestly say I love it. Most of all, I love being against him, feeling his body heat and smelling him so close. It's all intoxicating, and that's when I release, with no mistaking that I'm in too deep. I push the thought away and let him release inside me. I lean down and replace my fingers with his tongue. I feel his hands on my back, and he's still pushing in me. He rubs them up and down, feeling my shoulders and bottom. He uses his nails a lot, which stings a bit, but I welcome it. Then he pulls out and pushes me off him. Now what? When this ends, he's usually the one to go first, but now it has to be me. Now I have to go. So I get up and grab my clothes. You're not going anywhere until I say you can, Gurahim says. I stop what I'm doing and I look at him. You always leave when you're done, I say. Yeah, but I'm allowed to do that. I hold the contract. I always tie you down if you like. I tighten my jaw at that. No thanks, I mumble. I remember all too well the shackles I was into. I still have the bruises on my wrists. Fine, I won't go until you tell me to, but that means you have to let me eat and drink. An owner wouldn't neglect his dog. I nod my head. Yes, the dog would always follow after his owner. Well, that was, yeah, that was it. I felt awkward at points reading that because I didn't think it was gonna be that much, like, as a lemon. So maybe if you guys have any other Gearlink requests to say, I'll read them. I'll read them out. Because I know a lot of people do this, and it's kind of weird for me, because I just accidentally read aloud a lemon. Wow, I'm blushing like a horrible fangirl right now, but, so if anybody has any requests for fanfics that they want me reading, I don't care if it's out of character or in character, put it down in the comments section, and I might get to it. If I haven't read it before, I'll read it first, and then after a while, if I think to do it, I'll tell you, and I will. So, thanks for listening along, I guess. This was Vic the Bazaar, and this was In Too Deep.